Hello, people. This is Zyberpunky and friends, and today Kotaru is joining me in this interesting topic. Uh,
Yo,
and the topic is
the recommended and not recommended last gen games.
So I'll start off with the PlayStation. Um, I still have like a lot of good ones and less uh bad ones because I really did avoid that through all these years. So people are very very afraid today to like buy uh anime license games. We all know
Yeah.
that TV license game and movie license games are shit.
Yep.
And you and me, we totally agree. We cannot share that with you guys who are hearing us because they're shit.
Yeah, they
um,
are.
so um, so the first one that I'm going to mention is if you're a really fan of um, Saint Seiya. Uh,
Us.
yeah. There's like a beat 'em up Saint Seiya. I think it was released in 2013,
Yeah.
and I fully recommend it. I bought it in Japanese. I think there's an English one, but
Yeah, there's one.
yeah. But I bought the original only for Japan. So yeah, it's really really good. It's fully really recommended because it not only you play the the actual story. It's what you see in the anime. It also has some background, and this is why um a lot of anime license came today and from the last gen have, because they not only have the sagas, like in Dragon Ball, they all have the sagas, but they also have something added,
Hmm.
like the Cell Saga, the Frieza Saga, the Saiyan Saga. It's all repeated, but they also have their new element added in their each their game.
Yeah.
So let's see. I have One Piece here, Unlimited World Red,
Oh
and
yeah.
people been like, well, that game. They've been seeing and watching uh the videos on YouTube, and it seems kind of slow. The pacing of the fighting. It's
Yeah.
not true. It's not true. I play the game and it's really fast, and what you see in the videos is like they're not slow. It's a really fun game. It's not just only the this follows not just Luffy and the gang doing something from the anime. It's something added. So this is a really uh other type of anime game that you can say
Yeah.
that, wow, this is totally different from the anime. It's not trying to copy everything from the anime because I've seen it. It has some other elements, and that's what makes it fun. And it's really fully recommended because it's from a lot of them. They're from Bandai Namco,
Yeah.
so they unite forces somehow, and they create these awesome, fun anime games. I still have a lot here, but what would you recommend?
Well, and anime. Well, basically, anime. One Piece. I haven't played that much One Piece because basically the one I played was the one that was in GameCube, the one that was a fighting game.
Wow, yes, yes, I do remember
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, I was a very fan of Solo in that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people used to get pissed at me because of it.
You
At
used to spam?
because I was really good with him.
Okay.
At the well, About that one, I've seen gameplay. It's true. It's good. It's fast. What I think people are kind of not liking about it is the fact that it's kind of like a little bit with the system of what's that game? Dynasty Warriors.
Oh yeah,
It has like kind of that system, and well, people didn't kind of like it. I think in that way, I thought
that's
it was cool
Pirate
because
Warriors. Yeah,
it
Pirate
was
Warriors.
about time they kind of changed a little bit the pace. Because every time I see an anime game, it's always a fighting
A
game.
fighting game. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, could they change something? And then they came One Piece, and I was like, oh, that's something new and different.
Yes.
but but people didn't kind of like it because they got used to the original way of how it was. It was always fighting games, and everybody was like, oh, we want fighting games. So that's maybe one of the reasons why J Stars appear to shut them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Yep.
Yeah. But the games I recommend, one is J Star because it's a really fighting cool game. Because at the same time, it has like this 3D aspect
Mhm.
of fighting. At the same time, it's like very different because you're seeing every character from Solo Jump in this game.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
everyone, but the best ones. You
Yeah. The
know,
best.
the
Yeah.
main characters basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, and people has always dreamed about this fight between Naruto and Goku, and you can have it in that game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And another game I think that's really cool, that's really good and recommended. It's This is an old thing. At the To PlayStation 3, they kind of make this HD remaster of Budokai 3 and Budokai 1 of
Uh.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
The HD. Right.
yeah, the HD
Yeah.
edition.
Yeah.
As the people never got the chance to use the Budokai. And when people talk about the best game is a Dragon Ball Z, people say Budokai 3, and I know people, they're like, what? Budokai 3? I played Tenkaichi, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tenkaichi is good. I say it's good, but it's not that good. Because either way, fine. It was a new type of style of Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
which eventually became Xenoverse style, which
Yes.
is Xenoverse a really good game.
Mhm. Mhm.
But still, there were like this bad things that Tenkaichi had, because there was this part of things that you could manipulate in a really disgusting way how people fall.
You could
'Cause-
easily spam.
yes, and that was disgusting. I hated that in Tenkaichi. It was like I fight it with people, and they were like chicken it out, getting away, throwing Kamehameha all the way
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
afar. And I'm like, I want to punch you. But they're just spamming Kais and spamming keys and spamming anything they can throw. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I
And
totally get you.
yeah. So Budokai 3 for me was this cool thing because Budokai 3 makes you be close. You can spam your Kamehameha, if you- but you can always go Dragon Mode and break the Kamehameha,
Mhm. Mhm.
which was good. I used to do that trick a lot, and people got mad at it. But it's a
Oh,
trick that you can use against people who spam.
yeah, it's like trying to avoid spam, and that's what I like a lot about these kinds of fighting games and anime fighting
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Burst Limit, it's kind of like Budokai. Of course,
Yeah.
it's not as near as as
I
Punk.
actually got mad because first limit, they just let it in sell. I was like, what happened?
Yes, yes.
I want a boo saga,
Yeah, I
right?
want a Boo Saga too. It's just
Yeah. And it was a good game. It had a cool concept.
yeah, it did, and it really had potential. But I'm like,
I
what?
think it was the story lacking because the story
Yes,
was very bad.
maybe they focus on more of the graphics
Combat.
and the combat, because
Yeah,
this was one of the first games of PlayStation 3,
yeah.
and I don't know if I should recommend it. Uh, it's just, if you're a collector of Dragon Ball or any anime.
Basically, if you're a fan, you should
Mhm.
get it.
Yeah, you should
But
get
if
it.
you're not, don't get it.
Yeah, I have it. I have the Japanese version because I do not like the dubbing of this
I know.
game. It's
I know. It gets to a point that it's like, Goku, come here, and their lips keep moving,
exactly it's the lip sync and it's so bad. So
and that happens a lot in the Naruto games. I'm like, oh my god.
I prefer them in Japanese or whatever
Yeah,
the language they're made of. But
yeah,
yeah, I bought Burst Limit in Japanese version, and it's a lot better. The voice acting, it's way better.
yeah.
So so what other games?
Other games. Well, I got at the Naruto games are really good. At the but I have. There's only one of them that I will never recommend. It's Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, the first one.
Yeah, I remember that
Never buy it
one.
because since they were starting with the new mechanics and stuff, it was
3D
like,
mechanics.
yeah. Plus the fact that Kimimaro was broken as Jesus Christ.
That I remember that he was so broken.
Yeah, you could break the shield of somebody so easily. Oh, and now that I think about it, yeah, there's other games of Naruto Shield at the Ultimate Ninja Storm that you can't get, like 2, 3. You should start, actually, people should start from Generations, because the problem with the first Storms was that they had unlimited substitution.
Mm,
And
okay.
that okay, since they put the new mechanic of you can now play against people of internet. You can fight with people on internet. Yeah, that was cool. I was, yeah, awesome. But the problem was that people in the other places, there was always this guy that was spam substitution like a monster. And you could never land a punch on him. And it was like, Jesus Christ. I literally had to use Minato to beat them up. The only
Exactly.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do have the experience for Storm yeah, Storm 3, which is, Naruto Shippuden Storm 3.
Yeah.
And the latest one, which is the Revolution one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got both, and uh, best, for recommending, it's still the third one, cause the Revolution one, it took out pretty good elements from the fighting mechanics, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so I used to do these kinds of combos with this, and you guys took it out, and
Hmm.
it's really annoying because if I'm going to buy a game, a new game that it's like a sequel to that game, it's supposed to be better. And this thing I talked a while back in the previous podcast, that if I'm going to buy a new game, it's supposed to be, the sequel's supposed to be better.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, don't make me buy a shit
Hmm.
that that I can say like, okay, so I can share this game with you, but you're not gonna, each one of you, you, Angel, will be like,
Hmm.
okay, so I have different mentality for gaming, and I might like it, but I don't. But it's still like, if you play the previous one, you will say like, so they took this out, took that out. they added this, but I don't like it. You might have different criticism for these kinds of games that change
Mhm.
and add. So for me, Storm 3 is it's a lot better than Revolution. So I feel
Yeah, I think I am one who says the Revolution was kind of bad
yeah.
because I prefer 10 times better Generations, because Generations started the new mechanic of you only have 4 substitutions. You can only do 4 substitutions, which means you gotta think very closely what you're going to substitute.
Yeah, because there's also blocking and there's also substitute, so you have to
Yeah,
think both of them. You just not
and
substitute
then
substitute.
and and three, I might say that I don't recommend it, but at the same time, there's something good about it. It's in three they started the mechanism of that your shield can break,
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
because in the other ones that didn't happen. You just block all the way like a monster,
Mhm, mhm.
and you can even substitute like a monster. But in three, they started the thing that gets substitution would take a little bit more chakra than normal, and that your block has like this limit time of blocking, which
Mhm.
is good, and it was kind of good. The combos were good. I always said that the combos were good. I'm the first one that I prefer to see different styles of combos when I'm playing a fighting game.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I like Budokai 3 more than any of the other Dragon
Shitty.
Balls
Yeah, any other
is
shitty games.
it's because their combos are different.
Yeah.
Each combo of somebody else is different.
Yeah, because
Really.
that's a problem today of fighting games. They like, okay, it's a fighting game and each character has the same ass move. And like, really,
Yeah.
guys? It's like you got
Which
so
which
lazy.
yeah, which I heard that that's one of the things that people hated a little bit of Xenoverse, because
Yeah.
some of the combos were the same,
Yeah.
and people were like complaining about it, and they kind of fixed it a little bit. I heard,
Yeah,
but
they did an
but they
update.
gotta think it this way. In the point of Xenoverse in a different category at the gender of the other ones, because the other ones were a fighting game, but Xenoverse is a fighting game MMO because you're actually all the time in internet.
Yeah.
Well, you can have the offline, but the point of the game is to be in online
Exactly
and
the
fight
point.
and talk with other people, play with other people. They'll You gotta think it through. You can't criticize that badly because you gotta wait because it's a MMO. It comes updates
Yes,
daily.
yes, yes, yes. So there's other games from Bandai Namco that
Yeah.
they've been spamming the uh the combat engine.
Hmm.
I don't know if you have seen the other Saint Seiya games, which they are Soldier Souls, which is the recent one, and the previous one was Brave Soldiers. It had the same mechanics as the 3D fighting, but with different combinations. There's this other dot hack. We've seen the anime, but it also
Yeah.
has a game. It had a lot of games in the previous gen, but
Hmm.
in the PlayStation 3, they they made this other fighting game from Bandai that
Yeah.
it's dot hack, but with the same engine as Naruto. And what I see from these companies, and I do fully recommend these kinds of games if you're this kind of collector of, if you're a really hardcore fan of Bandai, because
Yeah.
there could be a debate, between all of these games that look alike, but with different characters, because
Yeah.
they still have different mechanics because they're different animes and different games, but
Yeah.
they still 3D fighting. They still you know they the buttons are not the same always. They have different combos and whatnot. So I really fully recommend if you like licensed anime games.
Mhm.
Look up like Dot Hack versus say all of the Senseiya games are really good. For me, I don't know if for you, Uh,
Yeah.
so the other one that it's really good is Gundam EX Full Boost, EX
Yeah.
versus Full Boost,
Yeah.
and
That's a good.
yeah, it's really good, and it has like a little bit of Naruto, but the maps are a lot bigger. It has this
Oh,
more
speaking of Gundam games,
yeah.
I fully not recommend Dynasty Warriors
Oh
Gundam.
no, no, man.
No,
I have the
it's
third. I have the third one, and
the third one is kind of good. It has its good side.
yeah, it has its
I
good
got
side.
I yeah, their combos were different. If the Gundams were different, how
But
they moved.
yeah, but
Finally,
one and two are the worst.
yes.
Yes.
My God, I had the one. That was my first game in my Play 3. It was Gundam Dynasty Warriors. I was like, I'm so pumped because Dynasty Warriors you can play two persons.
It would be
I want to
like
kick ass in that game. Blah blah
Gundam
blah.
Dynasty Warriors ripoff.
Oh my God.
Literally.
When I first played it, I the first thing I do was because my brother and I always check games that are like two players, stuff like that, because we like to compete.
Yes.
So we buy that game. I said, "Yeah, look, it's two players." He was like, "Okay, fine. It's Dynasty Warriors and it's Gundam. We love Gundam, so fine, let's get it." I'm like, "Yeah." I was expecting like Dynasty Warriors Samurai or something like that style of combat, but no, I got this Gundam that basically I can't lock on to the guy. It was a disaster in the point that when we were fighting, my brother and I, because I thought it was gonna be arena, just him and me. But no, it's arena with bad guys around, and I'm like, what? And it was like this thing that I'm kicking my brother's ass, and then comes this stupid Saku and hits me with her axe out of nowhere. I can't lock on to it, but in story I can't lock on. I'm like, what?
Wow, that is a total turnout.
Yeah. And I was like hoping the specials to be the baddest thing in the world, but the specials were a piece of shits.
Oh, totally.
Um, yeah, and two kind of step it up a little bit, but still there were the same stuff, problems with the combos and that. But then three came out, and three was kind of good. Three is
Yeah.
actually good. You
Mm-hmm.
can do the two types special, the special normal and the special that basically it's a sync with your pilot or something like that. I don't get that special, but the
Yeah.
point is that you just kind of the pilot kind of syncs with the Gundam and they do a mega special, which is different from the special they have original. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool.
Exactly. And there's other uh anime games, but let's move on the Japanese, which is it's still the same, but
Yeah.
there is still a masterpiece from Sega. Yeah, Sega still exists.
Woohoo.
Yeah, it's the Shining series. I have the Shining Resonance,
Yeah.
and it is gorgeous. The game, the music, the graphics. The game is in full Japanese because it says for Japan only. I'm still studying Japanese, and I'm still in a difficulty on reading the hiragana and the katakana, but
Yeah.
it is still a really fun game. Shining Resonance, it's totally recommended for if you like Japanese games. This is what Sega is all about. This is it's like going back to the old days when Sega was so good, and wow,
Yeah.
it's it's fully recommended. I mean, if
Speaking of Sega,
yeah.
a game that I don't recommend for Sega is Sonic 5050 something.
And don't mention Boom.
People's been.
No.
I played it. I was like, oh, there's another Sonic game. I was like pumped because there was like it's
Everyone
been
gets
because
pumped because they're waiting for this super ass Sonic game.
yeah, and I was expecting a Sonic Heroes. It's basically Sonic Heroes my favorite one of all of them, and Adventure. They're the two I love because they were awesome. They had their story very cool and everything. Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't even want to talk about that game.
Oh
It
no, no.
was it was sucked so bad. Every ending sucked. And and believe me, I'm a Sonic fan.
I get you,
And
man. I totally get you.
I want okay, I want to play this game. It's new. Piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah. I totally
And
agree.
oh no, and almost at the end of the game, they give you like this message, and you just notice that the game is kind of a little bit satanic, and I'm like, what? It's like Illuminati shit and everything. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, what's this? This
You,
is not a Sonic game. They're ruining my childhood right here. And oh my god, Sonic Boom.
no,
That's the
man.
waste of shit.
That's a waste of your freaking time, people.
No, Sonic Boom is the game. It's the game. You can finally say Sega doesn't want to do Sonic anymore. Because that game, just the scenes were so bad. It was like if you stop the game and you put it in a premiere or something like that,
And we're talking
and you
about
start check.
this, and we're talking about this generation. This is
Yeah. And this is this generation. You know that sucks.
bad.
And you start moving the frames, and you can see stuff so weird. Like Sonic appears in another place, and his speed trail is like it's still in the road.
Oh my
The
god.
speed trail of Sonic's still in the road, but Sonic is like in a tree, for example. Or Amy just goes inside the road. Or Knuckles just I don't know.
It's just so bad. It's just
The lip singing was suckish.
it all depends because if you're going to make a script for a game, because right now I'm making scripts for movies, but in the future I will really want to make a script for games. But if you're
Yeah.
gonna make a script for games, either English or Japanese, man, do it for the freaking fans. Do it for the people who are going to watch your movie or play your game, because it's all on the writing. Because if you know that a Sonic is suckish. It's suckish. It's because of the writing, the pacing, eh, whatever the case may be. Because the Sonic today is bad,
Yeah.
bad. Fully not recommended. It's just
It's bad. You just bad in a disgusting way.
So there's another game I hear that I fully recommend that is from Capcom, even though Capcom has been throwing shit just like Sega. Capcom in 2012 released this extremely awesome game that is called EX Troopers. It's for Japan, yeah, Japan only. This is another game that it has been not released on the US.
So that means only get it on online.
Yeah, on eBay.
Yeah.
So, this game totally, it's Capcom. Just like I told you guys about Shining Resonance, EX Troopers shows what Capcom developers can do. I mean,
Capcom Capcom actually has done a lot of good games.
Oh yes,
Yeah, Capcom has done good games. Because Dragon Dogma is a good game.
yes,
It's a
totally
very
agree.
good game.
Totally agree. I played
Uh,
that game.
yeah, it's a awesome game. It gives you okay. Like a Dragon Dogma came after at the after Shadow of the Colossus, and everybody was pumped because in Shadow of the Colossus you can climb up the giants and kill them one by one.
Yeah.
And I think Capcom saw that, and Capcom was like, "Oh, we want to give the fans what they want," so they made Dragon Dogma because Dragon Dogma you can do basically whatever.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If a developer or a company gets inspired by another game, and make it their own, like make it like totally inspired by it and make it like their style. Because that's what I
Mhm.
like about Dragon's Dogma. They made it their style, and they made it like this huge RPG, almost like an MMO. So
Yeah.
it is like it has awesome graphics. I mean, the fighting, it's really good. Most of the dragons are really challenging, and
Hmm.
it, it, it is it is really good. But um, the thing about Capcom, it's all the decisions that they have made recently, and that's why I'm bashing on it because I mean
Hmm.
they have other games to if
Yeah.
they want to keep on to the exclusive, and we all know that
Uh-huh.
Street Fighter Five, we
Yeah.
it's only for the PlayStation 4, but
That
me,
was a bold move from them.
I know, but I've talked about this in the previous podcast that I know that Capcom wanted Sony's money for because they're not doing pretty well. And I talk about about the Mega Man thing in the previous podcast when
Yeah.
they threw out Mega Man, their icon, their mascot of Capcom. They lost it, and that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, they gave it to Nintendo,
Yes, and it's like why
which I don't understand why.
and most all of the Mega Man games and the ones I really love that are the Battle Networks from the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Totally fully recommend those games from
Yeah.
uh and Capcom back in the days was like, wow, I totally can share what I really like about these games and fully recommend it to my friends. But today, it's like we have this restriction, we have this like doubt, we have this like,
Hmm.
it's good, but it has this. And I don't want that in a game. I want
Uh,
trust. I'm not looking for perfection in a game, but I really want something that I can have fun with it, that I can spend hours with it.
oh, believe me, people are mad at Capcom
Totally.
because one of their other beloved franchise, which everybody knows, Resident Evil.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
good thing. They're awesome. They have good stories and
Yes,
everything. But
totally.
then it came six.
That turd
It's,
of the franchise.
no, and mechanics and gameplay, it's awesome. They
And the
made
co-op.
it.
And the co-op.
Yeah, co-op is awesome.
Totally.
It works good. Everything works good. The problem is the story.
The writing.
I didn't care of anybody,
That's a problem.
which is bad. I care only about two persons. I mean three. And it's very weird that I care about them.
Wow.
Leon is normal. I care because Leon is like
Yeah, it's
he's like the mascot of
yeah, it's
Resident Evil.
exactly the point.
But I started to care of Jake, this guy that they put new, and I'm like, oh cool, Jake. Did you know that he's the son of Whisker? I'm like, what?
Hmm.
I'm
Pretty
like, what?
interesting.
And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. That story. His story was awesome. Started very cool. You know that he's the son of Whisker. You know all this shit, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going awesome and everything. But the ending was a piece of crap. And I was like, uh huh. It didn't show anything. It didn't tell anything. It just said, oh, we need Jake because Jake is probably the cure of all the zombies. Because he has the DNA of Whisker. He
Yeah.
has the virus inside of him,
Uh
but he's not a zombie.
huh.
He's a
Wow.
normal human being that can kick the butt of a nemesis. You
That.
actually kick the butt of a nemesis in the game. I'm like, what? It's supposed to be the baddest thing in the world, and you
This
just kill
is,
it punching it.
this is how truly they messed this thing up.
Yeah. And the other thing I care, I'm going to play the story of Chris. I'm like, oh yeah, Chris, the badass of the badasses. Oh, I play Chris so much. I cared more about Pierce,
Wow.
his part. I cared more about his partner than Chris. I was like, I can't believe I care more about Pierce. It got to the point that every time we played co-op, I was like, I want to be Pierce.
Wow.
Yeah, because Pierce was awesome. Pierce had personality, had
Mhm.
everything. The
Mhm.
bad thing is, at the end of his story, spoilers if somebody doesn't know,
Yes.
he dies saving Chris.
We're totally gonna get dislikes with the spoiler.
But but even though it gets a dislike, people would love it because even though he dies
No one.
in an awesome way. It made me care more of him than Chris. Still,
Wow.
I, I even got a tear out when he died.
You know,
I
even
was like,
though
I can't believe I care more of a side character than the only one that I supposed to care.
even though that even the
Oh,
if
and don't get me talking about Revelation.
oh no, let's not get into that.
I, I, I I get the point. They wanted to touch a new style of gaming in Resident Evil, which it was good. I like the
at least
fact
they
that
tried.
I like the fact that they put it episodic. It
Uh-huh.
was
Yes,
good.
yes, yes.
It was a good idea because that way people wanted to play the game more. But the bad thing was the marketing they did with the game. They put episodes a little bit too pricey.
Mm.
Just because it said Resident Evil, they thought, oh, we can put the episodes a little bit more pricey so people can buy it because it's Resident Evil.
Right.
Want to play it? Yeah, people still pay for it, but they paid with angry. They paid angry.
Yeah.
They were mad because it was pricey, and
Mhm.
especially if they said it was a Telltale game. And Telltale games are no because Telltale games are cheap,
Mhm. Yeah. Basically.
and Resident Evil was not cheap, and it was a Telltale,
Mhm.
and people were mad about it.
Wow.
And it was good, fine. It was a good game. It went back to the old Resident Evils, which it was fun.
Yes.
Back to spooky stuff.
Yes, exactly. The
Finally,
suspense.
yes, there were ages since Resident Evil made me screamed.
Exactly.
Because six, what's 5 and 6, it got to the point that it was like, oh, a bad guy's gonna come out on that show. Boom! I knew it.
Too predictable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
at that point.
yeah, yeah. That's a lot of like flaws that, scary games today have, and I really
Yeah.
don't fully recommend today's scary games because they're
Oh, oh. I can recommend just one. Outlast.
Outlast.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a
Awesome.
good scare game. It really makes you get scared. It really does. Because Until Dawn doesn't.
Uh,
But we'll get that eventually. Because that's new gen.
yes. So, so let's leave Capcom behind before it
No
flagged our
problem.
video because they'll get angry and flagged our video. So let's
Yeah.
go to Square Enix. Square Enix. Before we get to the Final Fantasy, I have right here in my hands Dragon Quest Heroes, and
Oh,
this game is extremely good.
yeah, I heard it was awesome.
It is, and it has that Dynasty Warrior style, and
Hmm.
it has it so so solid. The characters have different style of swordplay. And the reason I really like this game is that they have like a mode that they 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 turn into this Super Saiyan God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, and it added that new element. I have not played the previous Dragon Quest from the PlayStation 2 or the other platforms, but
I
this
played them.
this one I totally recommend it if you have that doubt that watching gameplays is not uh, your thing. But it is really good. I fully recommend this Square Enix masterpiece.
Yeah.
Uh, there's another Square Enix masterpiece, Dragon Guard 3.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if you have heard of it.
Yeah,
Um,
I heard.
so wow, this is a really good masterpiece.
Hmm.
It has awesome graphics. I mean, not as awesome, but it's still playable. It's still good. The characters are well made, and the protagonist it's a female. I mean, I like female characters in a game
Yeah.
because they're totally badass and sexy. You know me, Lavi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I like female protagonists, and if you really like female protagonists to be in the game, this is the really right for you. And it's like a Final Fantasy, but it's like have this um, beat 'em up hack and slash fighting style.
Hmm.
So yeah. The other one that I have to mention that I won't recommend is from Tecmo Toke. Is piece of shit.
Oh, my God.
It is tedious. It is so bad. It has this hack and slash thing that you cannot move the camera around. Ugh, and when it gets to a boss, the game obligates you to spam. If a game
Oh,
obligates you to spam, do not buy it because you're going to it's gonna be boring. Because
yeah.
even though it's um, a ninja game, I mean I love the Ninja Gaiden games, but
Yeah.
not this one. This one is not fully recommended. This is the only game that I bought, and I'm telling you guys, for real, the only game that I bought that I do not like. I still play it, but I still don't have. I'm still giving it a chance. I'm a guy that gives uh, games a chance, and
Yeah.
until today, it's still tedious. It's still bad. It's still like, wow, I'm hitting myself in the balls. I'm hitting myself in the face with this game, and I don't recommend you to be like me, but I do recommend you to not buy this game. Because it's really bad. And games like these that if you know they're bad and if you are
Hmm.
a collector, because collectors they collect any kind of if bad or good bad or good things because you're a collector.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with these games. Even though if you collab bad and good, that's the collector's thing. The point is to have fun with the freaking game.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna have it there like collecting dust, I mean, most of the collectors they really take care of their stuff and they don't let it collect dust. But this game will obligate you to collect this piece of shit into dust because it's so bad that the dust is a
Wow.
This game has a magnet to the dust because
Wow.
it's bad. The reason why you do not see a gameplay of that game in my channel is for a reason. Because if you go to my channel and see all these games, and it's a lot of games, but except for that one, I might in the future record some Ninja Gaiden Zyber, and
Mm.
you won't feel anything because I'm playing, and there's like I'm trying so hard to beat this guy, and I can't. So I have to spam and spam and spam until I get this done. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah. So for my experience, don't get this
Is it-
experience. This is a bad experience.
Don't spam.
Yeah. So what other games?
Well, okay. Now that I'm thinking, I just remembered from Capcom.
All right.
Please don't get mad, people. It's a good game. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's a good game. Just in case, it's recommended. If you like story-driven games, story that are only story, because this game doesn't have multiplayer, it just has story. It has a very awesome story. It has, it's awesome. Remember Me.
Oh,
Have you
I
ever
do have
remember me?
that. I have
It's a
that.
really good game.
It's a really good game.
Yeah.
Yes.
It gets to a point that sometimes you gotta spam combos.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get it. I understand that point. But the story is awesome. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that you can control people, you can control people's memories is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
And it's good. And now passing back to Square Enix. This is next gen. It's one of the first games that came with the Play 4. I don't recommend it as I bought it and I bought it. I only played 5 minutes of the game and I haven't played anything else because I didn't like it. Thief.
Oh,
I didn't like it,
it's
and
really
it's Square
bad.
Enix,
It's really
and
bad.
people. It's weird because Square Enix is story driven, and you expect an awesome story.
Even good
Story
companies make good
sucks.
shit. Even good companies make bad ass shit
Yeah.
games.
Especially the fact that it's Montreal Eros,
Mm-hmm.
and Montreal Eros has done a good game that I recommend, which for next gen is coming the next part of the story, which everybody loves, Deus Ex. It's an awesome game because the reasons why I hate Thief, I already told it. The reasons why I love Deus Ex, it's like this mix. It's a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It has story-driven. Every decision that you take has a consequence.
Oh yes.
It's people are what how you treat people will come back eventually in the story and hit you.
Mm-hmm.
It has this system that you go between first person and third person, which at the beginning at the beginning it's kind of tedious because you're like but it's helpful because people who play first person shooters, we hate the fact that we cover but we don't know what's around us.
Yes.
So there could be this other player beside us just staring at us, deciding to shoot or to knife, and he's right beside us
Mhm.
and we don't know. But Deus Ex, when you cover, you turn automatically, it turns into third person, which you can see everything around you,
Yeah.
and it helps. It helps a lot.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
the weaponry, you have a lot of weapons,
Oh
very
yes.
lot of weapons, including himself.
Yes.
He's a weapon, which
Yes.
is awesome. The fact that it's futuristic is awesome.
Yeah.
I love games that are like that,
Yeah.
and the story is very interesting. It makes you go in it, and without even you knowing, you start doing side quests, and the side quests actually help. There's some that doesn't. Some of them are really weird, but it actually helps. The game actually hits the and now it's coming Men Divided, which is the new game
Yeah.
I'm planning to get because I love the game. I played it 3 times. And the other thing that is awesome about Deus Ex, you decide which way you go. You can go stealth, or you can go crazy gun blazing, killing everybody.
Yes.
That has its consequences.
Exactly.
Like there's one of the first missions I had in the game. It was like this part where there's like the hostages, and they're like stuck in a place with bombs.
Oh
The
yeah.
bombs have sensors, and you basically you have to sneak and enter that, and you can't let the hostage see you, because if the hostage see you, the hostage gets nervous and they go running to you, and they pass the sensor and they blow up, and you get like this, you get this feeling that you gotta, and it happens two things because I played it since I played it 2 times. The first time I didn't save the hostages, and I got like this fight with the guy of SWAT because I didn't save the people,
Okay.
and I was like, wow, this game really does your decisions have consequences,
Yeah, cause
and
in my experience with Deus Ex, I've never finished the game because I got stuck. But it's a really fun game and really fully recommend it. And it and in that part that you can uh, in terms of the dialogue, I mean the script is really good. And that is the whole point of the of the screenplay, the
Mhm.
script. I mean, if you want the fans, you want the people who play your game, it has to have like this good background, good characters, because if you don't have that, how are we going to recommend your games to another people?
Mhm.
So, uh, my point is that we're totally doing this video because we totally have our differences in on recommending because we have other experiences, different experiences, but we we totally like to share with you guys with this recommendations and what you can recommend with us too. And for a last game that I would recommend to end this podcast, it will be a shooter game. That shooter game is Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, it's a good one.
It's extremely good and challenging if you play. It's the most challenging co-op you will ever experience because if one of you mess up, you have to start
Yeah,
all over.
yeah.
And and that for for that is like wow, this game is so challenging even though it's like man, I can't do this, I can't do that, and I have to be careful with this, and the limitations that this co-op gives you is like wow, it's challenging. That this is not another Call of Duty game. This is not like another shooting game. This is stealth. This is like
Yeah.
almost like a Metal Gear, but multiplayer co-op. And what you will get from this game, not just the good story from the Splinter Cell series, is also the co-op that you will receive online, local, and basically this is uh what really challenges me and as a gamer that if I really want a challenge from a game, it doesn't mean that I really want like a lot of game overs and a lot of death. No, the challenge game is like okay, so I need to get better. I need to get over here. I need to get over there, etc.
Yeah.
A game that you spam, just like the Ninja Gaiden Z Yaiba, that is not challenging. A challenge
Yeah.
is basically uh, you still have fun with it.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are my thoughts. One last game for Lobby Boy over here.
Okay, we're speaking of shooters. So,
Yeah,
shooter game that I think it's awesome, and I really recommend it. It's basically okay. Oh, it's basically the Far Cry 4.
oh yeah.
I
Now we're
mean, the Far Cries, all the Far Cries are actually
now
good.
we're
They're all
talking.
good. Except the first and two, but all the other ones are good.
Yes,
From
yes.
3 to 4, and the next one that's coming, I don't know, I haven't played Primal yet. I can't say. But the they're actually good. Story is good. There's always a new psycho.
Yeah.
And the 4 has this story thing that makes you like go between sides. You're like, or you go very traditional with the guy, or you go revolutionary with the girl. And at the end of the story, you realize that it doesn't matter which side you get, there's always something bad in each side. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna spoil it because Far
Yeah.
Cry,
It's
it's a
still
long.
yeah.
People play it differently,
Yes.
so but each ending, it's like things. And for people who know, because this is already people already know it because it has circled the internet so much. Far Cry 4, you can just end the game by just standing in the table and not moving. Yeah, because okay, the beginning, Pagan Min, who's the bad guy, sits down with you and he says, "Come to eat and everything and all that stuff." And you're starting to eat, and then he's like, "Oh, I got this reunion. Would you give me a second, like 10 minutes or something, and I'll be back." And then he goes, and then you're like standing there
Mhm.
waiting. You can do two things. You can wait for Pagan Min, or which is tentative, very tentative. Because if you stay still and you try to stay still to wait the 10 minutes, you're going to start hearing screams of somebody getting tortured. And, well, you get curious, you go, and you realize it's the guy that was with you in the beginning of the game, and they're torturing him. And you're like, what the hell is going on? And then you run away, and the game starts,
Mhm.
just to say it that way. But if you wait and you stay still in that table, Pegamin comes back and he's like, "Oh, okay, let me take you to Shashkala, the place where you need to go." He takes you by helicopter. You just go, enter there. You realize Shashkala is actually your sister, and your mom was with Peg and Min, and they had Shashkala.
Wow.
So basically, Shashkala is like your sister, and basically, Peg and Min is like your stepdad. So at the end of that, Peg and Min and you just become best friends, and they start taking revenge on the rebels.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just 10 minutes, and you just finished the game.
Totally interesting. Fully
Yeah,
recommended.
yeah. If you feel lazy, you can do the 10 minutes. And even if you want to kill yourself trying to clear out all the map, you can always just look what's wrong and start the story.
Nice.
Yeah, Far Cry is a very weird game, and
Awesome.
basically it's good. So that's why I fully recommend the Far Cry because they're good. And well, that's basically it.
Nice.
Well, I guess that's all. I hope you like it, people. I hope you don't hate me because I spoil one thing. And if the comments, subscribe, like, help the channel because the channel really good. It's really good. It deserves it. If you guys would like a second part, please let us know and we'll make it delivered. And see you later, people.
See you guys later.